Hello students, I'm Vinitha Nair from Parlatilak Vidyalaya English Medium School. Let us continue with our revision sessions. Today, we are going to discuss the topic summary writing. Question 4B, section 4 in your activity sheet, marks 5. Précis means a summary of the main points of the given content. It is shortening of the text given. We are expected to present the gist of the passage. Now, how to summarize? Read through the passage 2 or 3 times in order to gain a clear idea of the subject matter. Mark or underline the parts which you think contain the most important points. Then prepare a skeleton or outline summary containing all the points that you have thus noted. The summary should not omit any of the main ideas or matter. A summary should never be longer than around 1/3 of the original passage. Change direct speech into indirect speech. Exclamations and questions should be changed to assertive form. The language and style of the summary should be simple, it should be clear. Figurative language should be reduced to plain language. Complex constructions should be turned into simple ones. Lastly, the summary should be a single continuous passage in your own words. Head the summary with a title which indicates briefly and clearly the subject of the passage. Moving on, what are the important points which you should remember while preparing a summary? First and foremost, read and comprehend, that is, understand the text carefully. Understand the purpose of writing. Why is this passage written? Mark the information as I told you, which is very important or relevant. Mark those points. Zero down on the key points, the main points around which the passage revolves. Change the style of conveying the idea. Rephrase the sentences and write in your own words. Avoid using the words given in the original passage. You may use synonyms instead. Complete sentences are expected. The last sentence, if possible, should provide a gist of what you have summarized. And finally, revise and review the summary which you have prepared. Towards developing mastery in summary writing, never exceed the word limit. Always remember 1/3 of the original passage. As I told you, don't lose track of the central idea, the central theme of the topic. Don't skip any important facts, related to the topic which I mentioned. Use link words to connect the sentences. You may use conjunctions here. Avoid grammatical mistakes. Avoid repetition of ideas. Learn synonyms. It will come handy while summarizing. Combine two simple sentences into a single complex sentence. These are all ways in which you can, reduce the number of words that you use in your summary, thereby sticking to the word limit. Important points to remember: always provide a suitable title. Central idea or the theme should be clear when we read your summary. Use of appropriate language is very important. It should be conveyed in your own words without missing out any key points mentioned. Copying same sentences from the passage given should be avoided. Please remember, you will not get any marks for copying the passage given as it is. Avoid your own opinions, views, or comments into a summary. A summary should have only the ideas included in the original text. Don't add any views or perspectives from your side. It is not allowed. Now let us begin with a beautiful story. Let us summarize this story. This story has a beautiful message. You've learned it when you were in 7th standard. Let us revisit this beautiful story and see how we can summarize it. We'll move from easy to difficult. Socrates was one of the wisest men of the ancient world. Many were the youths whose lives he influenced for the better. Socrates counseled his disciples to keep their mouths shut and speak only when absolutely necessary. O wise one, how may we know when it is right to speak? They asked him. Open your mouth to speak only after you have asked yourself 3 questions and received an affirmative answer to each of the 3, replied Socrates. What were the 3 questions? The first question we must ask ourselves before we speak is it true? If we are not sure about the veracity of what we are saying, it is better that we do not utter a word. When we utter words carelessly, we ourselves become transmitters of untruth. The second question to ask is it pleasant? Many are empty remarks and vain statements that people make in idleness to hurt others. It is better that these unpleasant words remain unspoken. The third question, according to Socrates, is it useful? Is our statement going to benefit the listener? Will our words bring comfort to someone? Are we likely to help someone with what we say? Only in that case should we go ahead and speak. Now let us see how we can summarize this beautiful story. So I have given a beautiful heading, Speak Wisely. It sums up the entire story. Wise Socrates, who influenced the lives of many youth during the ancient times, advised his disciples to avoid speaking unnecessarily. He told them that the right time to speak was only when they got positive responses to 3 questions. The first question was whether what was being spoken was a verified truth. This was to avoid careless lies. The second was whether it was pleasant, as it was better to let unpleasant words be. The final question was whether what was being uttered was beneficial, comforting, or helpful. If the answers were in affirmative, they could speak according to Socrates. So as you can see here, the entire story is summarized here with a heading. What did we do? We provided a suitable title to the story. The central idea we expressed very clearly through the summary. Appropriate language we used. It was all conveyed in our own words, but we did not miss out any important point. We did not copy the same sentence from the story. We did not include our own opinions, our views or comments on the topic. And only the ideas expressed. What have we done? We have expressed it briefly, 1/3 of the original passage. So this is how we summarize. It looks easy on paper, but you will be able to master it with regular practice. Moving on. Now let us see another passage. It is a big passage. As you can see, whatever is in black is the original passage. So what I have done, I have divided the passage into 2 paragraphs. I will first, summarize one part, a chunk of it. Then I will go to the rest. And then finally, what will I do? I'll put it all together with a beautiful heading. Let us explore. Now this again has a very good piece of advice for us. Read the passage and write the summary of the same in 1 paragraph. Time is the most valuable resource available to every individual. Time is a resource which can be measured quantitatively, but its nature is unclear. Time is a fleeting, limited, and intangible human resource which is always calculated and used accordingly. The time of the day is shown on a clock or announced on the media like radio, television, etc. They constantly guide us in carrying out our daily activities to distribute a time for work, rest, entertainment, and even check our progress during the day. The secret of time management lies in successfully identifying and eliminating time-wasting activities with effective and efficient utilization of time. In order to be a good time manager, grab the time, utilize it properly, and invest it into productive work. All right, so we have read this paragraph now. We have understood what it is trying to convey. So now let us get down to business. That is, let us get down to summarizing. For each one of us, time is of great value. Though it can be measured, there is no clarity in its features. Time is transient and using it wisely is important. We ascertain time of the day from various sources which help us to put it to good use. We should reflect on the futile activities we spend time on and use that time for constructive purposes. So whatever is mentioned in the earlier paragraph in black, we have summarized it. We have just given the gist without actually adding anything extra and without missing out on any of the important points mentioned by the original author. Moving on, do not allow time to flow and pass away without offering any result. The importance of time management is self-evident. Every individual has 24 hours a day to use. One must be aware of the available time and the time needed to complete the daily routine. Everyone must remember that time cares only for those who take care of time. So for the achievement of goals, proper planning and utilization of time is very important, which is definitely possible only by time management. So how to cut the long story short? We will read it, understand what the author is trying to convey and write it down in our own words. We know the importance of managing time and we should avoid wasting it. We all have the same amount of time. We should carefully plan a schedule and stick to it to accomplish our aims. So this is what you can do when you are practicing. And then finally, your final draft will be ready. So you will give a heading first. There are marks for heading. Effective time management, the key to success. It aptly, summarizes the entire message conveyed in the original passage. For each one of us, time is of great value. Though it can be measured, there is no clarity in its other features. Time is transient, and using it wisely is very important. We ascertain time of the day from various sources which help us to put it to good use. We should reflect on the futile activities we spend time on and use that time for constructive purposes. We know the importance of managing time and we should avoid wasting it. We all have the same amount of time. We should carefully plan a schedule and stick to it to accomplish our aims. All right. So this is how we summarize. All right. So what have we done? What have we done? First, we understood the passage thoroughly, the message, the central idea of the passage. So what did we do? We first comprehended the passage well. Then what did we do? We picked out all the key points, right? And we eliminated, we did away with all the elaborate details or words which were included. Then what did we do? We summarized it in our own words. We provided a title. And it is always important to go back and check your work for spelling mistakes, grammatical errors. All right. Is there any kind of repetition which has occurred? There are so many mistakes which may creep in while we are summarizing. So it is always better to edit your work before submission. That is again very, very important. So what have we done when we summarized these two paragraphs? We tried to explain it simply. How beautiful are the words of Albert Einstein. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. This beautifully sums up, what summary writing is all about. It is about reading the passage which is given and understanding it and explaining it in a simple manner in your own words. On this note, I take your leave. Thank you.